Good afternoon, learners. We are here for the second session, live session for this course on Introduction to Cognitive Psychology. What we'll do today is I'll take up your questions, whatever you have, and I'll try to answer them with the knowledge and experience that I have about this subject. So what I'll want from you is to ask questions and get online with us, start asking questions. You have three places where you can ask a question. You have this team meeting that I'm presently there. So you can ask a question here. You can type in your questions at this chat box on this YouTube session. And there is something called a forum where you can put in your questions and I can start answering those questions for you. So first things first, I'm proficient in two languages. So I'm proficient in both Hindi and English. So those of you who feel they want to ask the questions in Hindi or they want to reply in Hindi, they can always ask those questions in Hindi. By default, I'll be talking to you in English. So if you have a questions in English, that you can ask as well. So I can switch between the languages, not a problem for me. The idea is that the concept should or your question should be interesting in a better way. So what I'll do is I'll invite you to start asking questions. Now, since I don't have a question right now at this YouTube online session, what I'll do is I'll take up the first question, which I have from this response sheet. And here, Selim D. Selim has asked a question. He or she is a faculty, and the question states that due to some inconvenience, I did not submit the third assignment. Can I write the exam and apply for certificate? Yes, you can. So that shouldn't be a problem. The idea is that you can write your exam with some 8 or 10 assignments. What we do is we select 8 assignments at the best, 8 or 10. I don't remember right now. But from all the assignments that you have submitted, we select some of the assignments that you have done best, and we take our value from that, and your, of course, your examination marks, total it up, and that is how your score becomes. So that should not be a problem. That is what my feeling is. But a word of advice, write a mail to the NPTEL team in IIT Madras and ask this question to them. They will be in a better position to answer. From what I know, I guess this should not be a problem for you. Right. So then let's start the day's business and start answering your questions. So good evening. Good evening to all those people who are here. And team meet link. Preeti Rampal Singh, what we'll do is I'll try to put this team meeting link on this YouTube session if it's possible. Let's do that. So somebody has not got a meeting link. Can we paste this in the session? Okay. So my colleague here will do that for you. And for the other questions, what we'll be teaching in this live session. So this live session is not for teaching. Manas, what we'll do is we will interact with each other. So you will ask questions. If you have suggestions or feedback, you will provide them to me. And what I'll do is for your questions, I'll try to answer them with whatever knowledge we have about this subject. As for your suggestions, we'll discuss those suggestions or feedbacks, and I'll include these feedbacks into further sessions and try to improve that. So this feedback will be for both the session as well as for the questions. Then 4 assignments and started counting from 5th. Preeti, I really don't know if missing 4 assignments would be enough. I think there are 8 assignments that you need to do. Again, I'll say that put this question onto the NPTEL team. I think they will be answering your question in a much better way. But as I understand, there are 8 or 9 assignments that you need to finish. And these 8 or 9 are the best best assignments that you do. So from the best assignments that you do, that's the answer. Okay. Other questions if you have. So all those people who are with me here, you can come online, as in by owning your video and start asking questions. You can put a question directly onto this YouTube link, or you can also put this question onto this forum. If you're one of those people who has a question and or you are not able to join us today, what you could do is you could put this question into the forum, and what I'll do is I'll answer that question there. Another way to reach to me is write a direct question to me through my email with the time that I have, or depending on how much time is available with me, I'll try to answer those questions for you. Also, again, as I put it forward, language is not a problem with, at least I can switch between two languages. So if you think it's a language barrier for you to ask a question, go ahead, ask a question in Hindi, and I'll try to answer that for you. For all other languages, I'm a little bit unfamiliar, but I'll try to, even if you ask in those languages, I'll be trying to answer that. The idea is that knowledge should be transferred. That's the bottom. So about the content in the first week of the course, should we read more articles about functionalism, structuralism, and other schools, or given material enough? The given material should be more than enough, but I'll appreciate if you could read a little bit more in terms of books. So if you can get your hand on one of the books in cognitive psychology, perhaps the book that I have asked you to go through is, or rather I suggested you to go through is Psychology in and Out of the Laboratory. That is the Catherine Gallotti. It's a very nice book for introductory students, or for students who are just into cognitive psychology. So if you get a chance, or if you can make an effort, get that book and start reading. Believe me, it's an easy book. It's not that difficult to understand, and that will give you a more firm base into psychology. Right. So, given the fact that you have registered for this course, which means that you are interested in cognitive psychology, so learning from a book would not harm in any way. So, go to that. But from the point of view of passing the exam, I think the assignments and the lecture itself, or the lecture notes itself, and the video lecture itself should be more than enough. I'm always focusing on assignments, so do your assignments properly. If you do those assignments properly, and look at the video lectures and look at the notes, that should be more than enough for you for passing the examination. If you want to score good, go through a book. How can we absorb the material from the videos more effectively? As I said, the best way to go through a video lecture is break the video into many parts. Never look at a full lecture in one go. This is called spaced learning versus time learning, right? Or spaced learning versus complete learning. See, there are two ways in which learning can be explained, or in which in psychology we teach learning. You can learn a particular concept by breaking it into parts. But there's another way to learn. In one go, you can learn things. Now, things which are difficult, things which are kind of very much related, or a little bit more complex, you should be following that one learning, or in one go learning. But the concepts that I've explained to you, they require you to put some thought into it, or to put some thinking into it. And that is why a spaced learning paradigm or a spaced learning sequencing is best. So the best approach would be, take one video, let's say it is for 1 hour. The best thing you would do is break the video into 20-minute slot. So take a video, watch 20 minutes or 25 minutes of it, or 15 or 20 minutes of it. Once you're done with it, think about what is being said in the video, and then start comprehending or thinking about it. If you start doing that, you will understand a little bit. Then move the video forward, or you can make it, see the rest of the video the next day, and that is how you progress. If you do that, if you make the video, or if you wait while seeing the whole video and put it into parts, and while seeing parts of video, try to connect them, so your own understanding, you will have a much better idea or the concepts of cognitive psychology. So that's the most effective way to get things out of the video. Also, in addition, if you can think of a book, or if you can access a book, that will be the best thing. Suggest some books. So, Preeti, the best book, as I said, is Catherine Gilotti's book, which is Psychology in and Out of the Laboratory. Believe me, these books are 300 to 400 rupees, and I think most of you are uh, efficient enough to get these books. If you don't, there are e-copies of the book also available from the textbook vendors, which will cost you, or a Kindle edition is available, which will cost you much less. So if you can get those books, reading is the best way to understand the knowledge. So with the help of the video and a book, that is the best. Other books, you can look at Robert Sternberg's book on applied cognitive psychology. There is a book by Collar, not Collar, I think it's there is a book by Kaiser on cognitive psychology. There is other books, a number of other books on introduction to cognitive psychology. I don't remember the names right now. But a number of books is there. There is certainly a book by Kostlin on cognitive psychology, and I don't remember the names. So what I'll do is these are 4 or 5 names, and if you type it in your Amazon or any book app, these books will be available to you. So a good idea would be to get these books, and believe me, most of these books uh, will be between 100 to 500 rupees range INR. I think that much amount of money you can spare, or if you buy one book and 2 or 3 people read out of it, still done. So if you buy a book, read it, and when you graduate, then you can lend it to someone else or give it to someone else that way also. But going to a book is the best idea to do that. So book plus video lectures plus assignments is the best combination to get the most efficient knowledge, or say the most productive way of learning this course. Uh, then repeat the name of the book. It is Psychology, Cognitive Psychology in and Out of the Laboratory. The author name is Catherine Galotti. Type it, or just type in an Amazon search box, type cognitive psychology books. Even in Google, if you type, these books will be available. Type in Indian edition. In addition to that, complete assignments per week. That is why these assignments are timed per week. If you do it one way or in one time, you will not learn anything. So if you look at a lecture, finish that lecture for that week, do the assignment, and that's how the proper order of learning is. Think of it in this way. If I give you everything together, so suppose why eating lunch and breakfast and dinner? Why not eat everything at the same time? Will it be working? No, it's time. So learning in the same sequence. If you have one assignment for one lecture or one set of lectures or one topic, do that, and then you'll have a much better idea. Of course, you can eat everything in one go and then you can still leave, but that won't give you a good health. Same thing is with here. Learning in sequential manner will be effective because the lectures are arranged in such a way that it increases in difficulty, and so are the assignments. So if you put everything together, that's not going to work. Best approach, do it one by one. Okay. So more questions if you have, please go ahead, ask your questions. I'm still waiting for your questions in both this YouTube video, YouTube link, and in chat session of this team. Also, you can ask your questions on this live session feedback response sheet. So you can do that, and I'll answer the question. So please start asking questions. Also, if you are one of those people who don't have the opportunity or the time to be here today and still want to ask a question, there are three ways to do that. I have been telling you again and again. One way is write a question directly to the forum that get answers for you. If not, you can come online here and then ask questions. If not, then and if it's important, write a direct question to me. You have my email out there, so put a question to me, and what I'll do is I'll answer those questions for you. So these are three ways in which you can reach and ask a question. Believe me that this one lecture that we do here in YouTube, in actual classroom teaching parlance, what happens is one lecture of 1 hour for YouTube actually costs around 4 or 5 lectures in a one-to-one student teacher kind of a face-to-face interaction. So these lectures are very dense, I would say, or very it's arranged in such a way that a lot of matter has been put into it. So the best way to learn it, break it into parts. Let me see if you have some more questions. Dear learners, do we have WhatsApp group? I don't know if we have a group or not, but let's hope that we have a group. You can, of course, form a group among yourself and start whatever you wish to do. But a better idea would be there is a forum, so no need of a group. You can always ask questions on that forum. So learners, start asking a question. Please go ahead. Time is of essence. This session is maxed at 1 hour. We are already some 20 minutes past the start time. If we don't have more questions, I'll be forced to end it because I don't have more learners here. So on more questions here. So please go ahead, ask questions, give your suggestions, feedbacks, anything you wish to learn here, and let me answer those questions for you. Okay, so please go ahead, ask questions. If you have any, you have both this online forum as well as this chat box here onto the team meeting, as well as this response sheet. So learners, go ahead, ask questions, ask feedbacks. That's what the course, as I said, the course is it's pretty basic in nature. So what we have is we have several sections. We start with the basics of cognitive psychology. I start you by introducing you to cognitive psychology. Then we move into basic process of cognitive psychology, where I deal with things like perception, attention, and memory. We move into advanced processes like categorization and organizations of memory, or thinking, problem solving, decision making, and language. And these are how the course is. So the course starts with basic mental processes, and then we'll go to complex mental process or advanced mental process, and that is how the course is defined. This is the second meeting that we have. We had an earlier online meeting. Questions were put there, and I started answering those questions for you. And there will be one more live meeting for you. If you don't get this opportunity to ask questions here, maybe you can start asking there. Then there is a question by Achita Mehta, which says that SWAM certificate would be helpful. This will be helpful for getting grades, or if you want to demonstrate that you have done a certain course. So a proof of finishing a course, that is where the SWAM certificate is useful. Other than that, let me find out and let me tell you where it is useful. Siddharth, can you get previous year's questions for this course conducted by NPTEL? I don't think that's possible. So at present, I think that's not possible for you to get previous year question paper. Anyways, those questions will not matter, because barring a few questions, a few percentage of questions which is carried out from some previous year, most questions are new. Right, so we try to make as many questions. I wouldn't say that everything is new, but we try to make most questions are new questions, adding new questions. So over a period of time, there is only a limited number of questions that you can dig up for each session. So what we do is we keep on circulating some more questions and adding new ones onto it, and that is how the course works. But unfortunately, I don't think there is a mechanism for getting old questions, right? So that is the answer to Is this the last meeting or do we have pending meeting? No, this is not the last meeting. We still have another meeting, a third meeting that we will see next month. So don't worry, you will have another opportunity to ask questions, which is next month. Is the exam going to be MCQ or theoretical? It's an MCQ question. Of course, theoretical questions are difficult to answer. We have some 10,000 students registered for this course. If I start correcting a theoretical answer for all of them, it becomes really, really difficult. So mostly questions are multiple choice. But remember that multiple choice questions are in fact more difficult to handle than theoretical questions. And that is a debate between recall and recognition, which you will find in the course. So find out why MCQs are a little bit more difficult than theoretical or essay questions or recall questions. That should answer the question for you. Siddharth, okay, thank you, Siddharth. So Preeti has a question, and it's going to be online exam or offline. It's going to be an online exam. So there'll be a center for you. I think probably they hire TCS to do these examinations for them. So what you have to do is register for this exam, go to the TCS center in your town or city, sit for an exam, and that's done. So it's mostly an online, not mostly, actually, it's an online exam. So that's how the exam runs. Any other questions? If you have, please go ahead, ask those questions. I'm here to take your questions. So uh, that's what it is. Also, there is a forum. Ask questions in the forum. Write a question to me. Online forum is there, and online interaction is there. You can ask a question here, or you can wait for the next session and ask a question there. So these are all the 4 or 5 ways in which you can ask a question. Maybe probably give us a suggestion of what you think about the course, or maybe give a feedback as in this should be done to improve, because teaching is an art. So it gets improvement by getting feedback. So the more feedback I get from you, the better you learn, right? So um, these are some of the things that we try to address in this online session. So if you have any of these issues, or if you have any of these views to put forward, please go ahead. That's in brief of what cognitive psychology is about. This is the second online meeting that we are having. I'm waiting for another 5 minutes for you. If you have a question, please go ahead. If not, then I'll have to probably draw this session to a close, and we will meet you again in the next session. We are already 25 minutes past uh, the hour not in terms of the clock hour, or in terms of the hour given to us for doing this session. So please, 5 more minutes. If you're there, if you have a question, go ahead. I'll wait for you for 5 more minutes, and then we can draw the session to a close. How many assignments are left? As I can see, the 6th week assignment is live now. So this is a 12-week course. So in total, you will have 12 assignments. That this wait mode. Um, if you have questions, go ahead. Please ask your questions either on the forum, or on this online session, or through this YouTube interaction, chat, scrolling, whatever you call it. You can ask the question there as well, or you can put a question. Please ask questions. Make use of the time that we have here. Any questions? You have multiple platforms from where you can ask a question. Go ahead. Start asking questions. So, still waiting. Another thing, you can ask your questions in both Hindi and English. So, if you are one of those people who wish to ask a question in Hindi, please go ahead, ask that. Logical code. May I get a reference of where this logical code has been explained? There's a lot of logical code has been explained, but where are you referring it to? If you can put that, maybe it will be a much better position to answer your question. So put that, or you can put this question onto the forum and then I'll answer it there. But please do give a reference or the context from where this question is coming. By the looks of it, it comes from language, I guess. And in terms of language, the way logical code has been explained is in terms of how the structures of language really work. So from working memory, logical code. As I understand, in working memory, there are three systems. So working memory is basically explained, or is explained as an improvement of short-term memory. The way working memory is defined is it's a three-part system. There is something called a central executive, which is a governing system. So what it does is it takes in information from your attention filters or from an input system, the sensory system, and there from there it divides your information that it is receiving into two different sub-slave systems or slave systems. These subsystems or slave systems are phonological loop, and you have something called the sketchpad, a visual spatial sketchpad for the visual and spatial information. In between, you have something called the episodic buffer. The episodic buffer is that unit of working memory. So phonological loop will take in all audio related questions or audio related inputs, and the visual spatial sketchpad will deal with all video information, which is visual, and space related information, which is space. Now in between lies something called the episodic buffer. The buffer is what it does is it helps integrating information from these two slave systems and feeding it to the central executive. Also or picking up information from long-term memory and providing it to the central executive so that the central executive can make meaning of all those information which it is receiving through an input or through these slave systems. Now, where exactly is the logical code in the system, or what exactly is that you are asking? If you can be a little bit more brief, I will be able to answer your question. Preeti, if you are if you get an opportunity to come online on this team, it would be better if you could put a question here and then I can address your question. So from working memory, what part of working memory are you referring to? Are you referring to a logical code in terms of the central executive, or is it the phonological loop, or is it to do with the visual spatial sketchpad? If you can come online and ask this question, I'll be much pleased to answer it for you. Yes, please. Other people also, if you're there, please go ahead, ask a question. Preeti, put this question in full form or in a more brief form. I wouldn't say brief, I would say expanded form to the forum. I'll answer it there. Or if you want, you can come online right now, or at least central executive. Central executive, logical code in central executive. The central executive is known to do two things. Central executive basically takes in information from your input systems and it then use attention, and attention through attention it tries to uh, save these information that you have from the input system into the two slave systems. Additionally, what it does is it also talks to your long-term memory and gets information, background information or context information about this information. It integrates all these things together, so it gets an input from the episodic buffer as well as the phonological loop and the sketchpad, and tries to make meaning of information. From logical code, what it really means is that, from what I understand, is um, how the information will be arranged. What is the logic behind any kind of information? So what a central executor does is it gives a kind of a code. So uh, like how should the information be processed, and I think that's what the logical code is, because I've not come across this particular term. If it is there in my video, if you can put that, maybe I was referring to something else. If you can put that point, or you can put a more. So in central executive, you're talking about logical code. I don't know if I referred to that or not, but let me go back to my own lectures and see if I mentioned this and where have I mentioned this, or if you can pinpoint the part of the lecture where this thing isn't mentioned, I can give you a more better answer to that. But from what I understand, it's maybe you're talking about the propositional code. Uh, and if you're talking about the propositional code, it's a logical sequence. So what the propositional code actually does is, the propositional code is kind of a math formula. It's a function. So basically, what it does is it integrates information from declarative memory and takes the information from also from procedural memory. So it gives a way of doing things, the rules of that. Plus, it takes the information from declarative memory, fills it together, and that is how it describes the sequence of events, right? So that is propositional code. So it is like a math formula which is out there, and you can replace it with n number of variables and you can get an answer. For example, if I think of doing a work, if I think of doing an action, depending on what kind of stimulus input is there and where it is being processed and what is the context, the response will be different. But how do they interact together? So if it's a visual information and auditory information, and how do they interact together and what response it should probably give, this kind of thing is the propositional code. I think that is what you are referring to. Okay, Preeti, so do ask the question on the forum, and I'll be again going back. Just put me that sequence of where I refer to that. Probably you're talking about propositional code that you're that's already there. So go ahead, ask more questions if you have those. I'll wait for another 2 minutes. We are already some 50 minutes, 40 minutes past the hour. So 15 more minutes for this hour to go along. If you have more questions, go ahead, ask those questions for you. Thank you for being here. We'll wait for another couple of minutes and then I'll draw this session to a close. So if you have questions, please go ahead. If not, let's wind it up for the day. So learners, questions if you have, please go ahead, ask the questions. Okay, so I don't see questions coming in at this point of time. So what I'll do is I will conclude this session for you. You will have opportunity to ask your questions again in a third session, and you still have the forum, our beloved forum, where you could put in your questions, or you could write in a question for me directly to my email, and I'll start answering those questions for you. Thank you for being here. So all the best for your day, and rounding it off from MOOC Studio, it's goodbye and thank you.